The whole purpose of our spiritual practices are to clear and clean our mental field and also our body of any interference, irritation, unsettledness. And it is truly a practice and a process that we need to clean the lens of our perception and how we see things, to look through the appearances of what is happening. And as Marie had played the song this morning, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, if happy little bluebirds fly above the rainbow, why, oh why can't I? That's claiming our truth, that's claiming our true self, our home, to live above what we call ordinary awareness or consciousness. All of these, the monkey mind, the worries, the hurries, the memories, the conditionings that we all have. And remember bringing parts of ourselves back together in oneness, and remind ourselves that at the core of our being, at our innermost level, we're already whole. We're already that. Once in a while, we just forget. But at the same time, if you flip that word, or that saying, I forgot, is it not true that at the same time we remembered? This is rising above ordinary consciousness and living in what we refer to as superconsciousness. That is our true essence. Think about this. What was I before I had a thought? Before I came into this world and got impressed with experiences, some which were not very supportive. Some that still are playing out, often unconsciously, for us. And maybe part of that spiritual practice that we should pause those thoughts is one of a prayer. Lord, save me from my own self-judgment and criticism. That self-talk, I'm not good enough, oh, I forgot, I do. No, that's maybe part of our experience. But we can choose to rise above that and go, oh, but I caught it, and I choose to live superconsciously above these ordinary, mundane states. And it's a practice to do it honestly, with compassion and loving kindness, and be patient in this process. But yet be so inspired that there's more to life, that I'm going to allow this spirit to have space to express instead of the worry and the hurry. And it's a process of just catching and flipping it over to the other side. So before we had thoughts, before we got involved, we were pure. We're already whole, and that's really what we are. This joyous, pure, complete existence, presence, that's eternal, and it's everywhere. And especially when we don't see it out there. That's when we're being called to to wake up. Clean that stuff out of our minds and our, what they call it, stinking thinking. Press the delete button on the computer. Delete, refresh, delete, refresh. Bring the memory back in. Bring the memory back in. And let that hold the pain. Let that hold the worry. And lift it up and say, I feel you, I see you. It's something that's playing out or perhaps got stuck. It wants to be freed. It wants to be transformed and transcended energetically into what it can be. We look at springtime. A lot of the color is gone in the winter. And now all of a sudden, things are popping up. The trees are budding. Where did all those violets come from all of a sudden? I didn't plant them. The daffodils that we did plant are so bright and sunny and make us smile. Remind us that there's new life. And this is our opportunity to live in harmony with nature and to start new beginnings for ourselves. Every day, every moment. In compassionate understanding, I'm moving forward on this spiritual path of awakening. And I remember when I forgot, I really remember, and I'm just going to make a choice. Be there. We especially, when we can do this for ourselves, we're like an antenna and we send out a signal to the entire planet and to everyone else. When we look at the world conditions today, we can say, oh my goodness, what's going on? Well, there's nothing I can do about it. Wrong answer. We can look through to the truth of them and call forth their essence. While we take right action, set boundaries, speak honest words and kindness. But it's first a spiritual recognition of what that underlying reality is, especially if we're in fear or worry. That's when it's needed the most. That's when it's really calling to us to wake up and to make a right choice to create heaven on earth in our own consciousness, because that signal's going out all the time. Just like your cell phones. What signal do we really want to broadcast? When we think about this, what are the actions we can take? Some suggestions I could share this morning is number 1, plug into Source every day. Just like you do your cell phones and your computers, we know how frustrated we are when we forgot to plug them in and they don't work. It's kind of like the same for us. However that works for you, to be still. Ideally, to do something first thing in the morning. To start fresh. It's kind of like getting prepared for the day and making sure you have clothes on before you go outside. You want to really be prepared. You want to be supported. So when we sit and we be still, even if it's just for a few moments, and invoke the presence, or sing. And pray. Prayer is a communication where we pray in God, not to God. If it's all one, it's not us and that, it's us as that. So we could always say, oh, Lord, I am now more aware of my communion in oneness. Affirm it. Or I choose to live in oneness and release any sense of separation. meditate correctly, with like the technique I shared this morning, it is a scientific process of the soul to make that inner connection to clear the space. When you sit, upright, comfortable position, your attention, you can just flow the breath up and down the spine. That's a very simple way. Conclude with the attention here to rise above your normal mental chatter. And then just rest in the silence. Just be there. And when the mind takes you into another thought, oh, I got to remember to whatever today, that's okay. We don't resist it. We just return back to, well, you say thank you for that memory. and we go back to keeping our intention just to be open and aware to what we really are. To let it be revealed. This is the good news. There's nothing we need to do to make it happen. It's already there. We're just clearing out the mental field. So it's quiet, and we have this clarity where it can be revealed. It's just like spring cleaning. Where does all that dust come from? And then things start to shine up, and they start to light up. I like to think of life analogy like going to the movies. Have you ever sat in a theater and gotten all involved with some action, drama, romance, whatever's happening there on the screen, where it brought up lots of feelings? And then all of a sudden, you stopped and you looked behind you, and you saw that all of this was coming from a projector through a beam of light. We are that light. We create the movie. So we want to be mindful. Is this a past thing? Is this a pattern that's reoccurring? It's okay. Just recognize that and grab it with your super consciousness, your superpowers of your higher awareness of your true self, and say, come on, you don't have to stay stuck down there. We're going to choose to be the blue bird that flies. After the rain, there's rainbows. We can't avoid the rain, we can't avoid the sadness, but we can choose how we want to take action instead of reaction. So this is our spiritual practice. It's a process of practicing and remembering to instill these actions. So when you see these movies and you have a hero and you have a villain, often the villain's there to remind us that that's not what we really want, you see? And to pause and choose to be the own hero or master of our own lives and what's being created. Again, with the greatest compassion and honesty. And the prayer I use for myself on a regular basis is, Lord, save me from my own self-judgment and that of others. Because in truth, there's nothing to forgive. Maybe our forgetfulness, it keeps us stuck in something we're not. It is the aliveness and the memory of bringing it into reality is I choose life. I choose happiness, health, wholeness, freeness. My true self. Come on, bring it on. And then we probably need a little more sleep. At least today we won't have to wash our cars. So it's often about our mind. Our mind is an instrument that it's a medium through which the soul expresses. But it has a tendency to want to identify with whatever is in it. So the spiritual practice is constantly cleaning that out Am I that? No. Am I having that experience of this? Yes. Okay. But what's underneath that? We're all seeking happiness. Is it not innate and natural? Sometimes when we can't find it, people use artificial means. But we want to attune ourselves and align with this natural process of waking up and remembering who we are. And the wonderful thing is if you'll look around today, if we are grateful for this space and nature, for the people that are in this room, we're all on this path together. Our stories might be a little different, but our issues are all the same. And we're here to support each other unconditionally in this self-remembrance and awakening. So the second thing we do is once we understand the nature of the mind, now we can go ahead and move into choice. The choice to choose to live from superconscious awareness of our true self as a divine being, already whole and complete, and allow that to unfold and come forth by removing anything that might be blocking its expression. Again, with loving kindness to ourselves. It's a process. And then, when we choose that, we have to decide with firm resolve, how am I going to do this? Maybe more so, even why am I going to do this? How serious am I about waking up and living a true, happy, fulfilled life? Maybe it's because we're in so much pain, we're tired of that. That's a great motivator right there. Or maybe we're inspired by saints or sages or people around us to do the same thing, or nature. But it's to have that firm resolve and with the intention and to carry out a plan or a practice. It just isn't something we do on Sundays or when we fall on our knees. That really gets us into a place of surrender. If we can practice surrendering any thought that is not in our wholeness, that is not supportive of us. And when those thoughts do come in, hold it. Hold it with your sense of spirit and your inner knowing. Even when we can't find it, we can fake it until we make it. Because the subconscious believes everything we tell it. So we do have the power to do. So today, let's take just a few moments in self-reflection. On however we are intuitively inspired as we rest in the silence to bring forth our true self, our divine nature, with love and compassion, and think about how that can unfold for you. Let us now feel ourselves to be carried in the flow of grace as we set our personal intention. Sincerely, we are aligned and carried in the flow. And let us whisper to ourselves silently, I am a free, happy, healthy, eternal, spiritual being. I am a free, healthy, happy, eternal, spiritual being. And now whisper, I am a free, healthy, happy, eternal, spiritual being. And out loud, I am a free, healthy, happy, eternal, spiritual being. And so it is. Let's chant Om.